Senator Leyonhjelm.
Thank you, Mr President. My question is to the Leader of the Government in the Senate, the Minister for Finance and the Public Service, and the Minister representing the Treasurer, Senator Cormann. Minister, in your areas of responsibility, could you please indicate which is the finest achievement of the Liberal Democrats in my 5 years in the Senate? Is it the backpackers' tax deal to save farmers from union harassment and to limit the sharing of the personal information, financial information of taxpayers? Is it the delay in the cuts to the small business capital gains tax concession? Is it the expansion of allowable withdrawals from superannuation? Or the broadening of deductions for personal contributions to superannuation? Is it the cut-off of childcare subsidy for those with incomes over $350,000? Is it the 50-year lease over the Malabar rifle range? Or is it the reporting in the budget of government spending, tax and debt in real per capita terms?
The Leader of the Government, Senator Cormann.
Thank you very much, Mr President. I thank Senator Leyonhjelm for his question, and may I say on behalf of the government that we have thoroughly enjoyed working with him in advancing the public interest and making sure the Australian economy is as strong and as successful as possible into the future. It obviously is a somewhat unconventional question, which seems to be conspicuously timed around Senator Leyonhjelm's future imminent departure, so some more to be said about that a bit later. The thing about Senator Leyonhjelm is that, compared to some others, it was always entirely predictable where he would come from. Like he was always against increasing taxes and in favour of cutting taxes, which is of course why we were very grateful for his support in scrapping Labor's disastrous mining and carbon taxes, which is why we were very grateful when he and other key crossbenchers supported the government's business tax cuts to create more growth and more jobs, and of course our landmark personal income tax relief for hard-working families across Australia. That is a package which legislated tax relief for 10 million working Australians, and at its end will abolish an entire income tax bracket and ensure that 94% of Australians pay no more than 32.5% in the dollar in tax. Senator Leyonhjelm also joined us, along with the remainder of the Senate, in supporting the government's landmark GST reform bill, for which we from the great state of Western Australia are very grateful indeed. Senator Leyonhjelm supported the government's budget repair effort and indeed was one of the key supporters of our omnibus savings bill after the last election, for which we are very grateful. More than many in this place, he was aware of the need to balance the books, which is of course a reason why, along with the hard work of the government over the last 5.5 years, we are able to deliver a surplus budget on the 2nd of April, and that is why we will be in a position to pay down the massive debts that Labor left behind.
Time for the answers expired. Senator Leyonhjelm.
Thank you, Mr President. Minister, is the finest achievement of the Liberal Democrats something else entirely? Is it the community forums for the ABC and SBS? Is it the protection of journalists reporting on the controlled operations of the Federal Police and on the special intelligence operations of ASIO? Is it the retention of the onus of proof on prosecutors under corrupting benefits legislation and the ABCC legislation? Or is it the ban on torture by ASIO agents?
Senator Cormann.
Thank you very much, Mr President. What I would like to say again on behalf of the government, that of course we are very grateful for the way in which he has engaged with the government, helping us secure passage on legislation that was important in advancing the national interest. I would add that the government is particularly grateful for Senator Leyonhjelm's support for our ambitious trade agenda. Which of course has helped us strengthen our economy and create more jobs. In fact, by opening new markets for Australian exporters, our trade plan has helped create more than 200,000 jobs in trade-related sectors, and the dividend of this effort includes the record $22.2 billion trade surplus in 2018, which has been secured under our government, the biggest ever trade surplus for a calendar year. 2018 was also the first calendar year since 1972 where every month was in surplus. That is the first time in 46 years. It is notable that Senator Leyonhjelm supported the TPP 11, which was
Senator Leyonhjelm, a final supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. Minister, by way of contrast, could you please outline in your areas of responsibility the achievements of the Greens over the past 5 years?
Senator Cormann.
Well, this might surprise Senator Leyonhjelm and perhaps other colleagues in this chamber, but I can immediately think of an achievement of the Greens, a very important achievement. I've been in this chamber now for coming on 12 years, and one of the Greens' finest achievements was to help the Liberal National Parties defeat Labor's disastrous carbon pollution reduction scheme. I think in my time in this place, I have not seen a finer moment of the Australian Greens when they have helped us pursue policy which protected the environment in a way that was economically responsible. Sadly, I think the Greens have somewhat lost their way since then. Sadly, the Greens these days are way too close to the Labor Party, and the Labor Party is way too close to the Greens, but it would be not accurate to say that there are no Greens achievements in my period here in the Senate. I've just pointed to one. On notice, I can think perhaps of some others.
Time for the answer has expired. Senator Wong.